bird fans, have your cameras ready for a picture of formation flying at its finest as a diamond is approaching from the right at a mere 18 inches apart from wingtip to canopy for your 2025 Diamond Pass in Review.
Then they'll be airline pilots.
There are a lot of people who set out to pursue their private pilot's license who find the coursework daunting. So when you meet someone who is not only a private pilot but also has extended beyond, like these folks flying right now in front of us at Show Center, when you see them and you realize how hard they've had to work, it's a high five.
It is a high five, but it's a pretty cush job.
And he flies on the outside. He's got 31 years in and 7 combat deployments.
Well, we had to play this up here. Never going to give up on you because you guys.
Then we go into the street, have a talk with the announcer.
Yeah, we could do that. You guys are never going to give on up. You're never going to give up if we're out there in the water. That's the best part of this. So let's see if we can get it on the radio here. AC 130, it's Matt and Steph with about 100,000 of your best friends. How do you hear us? What do you want to say to the folks down here?
Thank you very much for coming out to watch today, but today's day of remembrance for those who have given us this day and our freedom that we exist. What if I press the east here, roll off the street, we're going to go pick the jollies up on the east side. We'll be back in about 4 or 5 minutes. On board, myself and Sigurano, Nick, Johnny Hoyos, we got Doc on board and a few others in the back. I'd like to thank everybody for coming along today. You look awesome down there.
Great job, sir. Thanks for all you've done for our great country. We sure appreciate it.
Long Island. So any of you youngsters out there that are thinking about the military, you don't have to leave Long Island. You can do it from home, and you could also have another job, or you could go full-time. Just ask some questions, and you'll get some good answers.
That's right. Anybody in a flight suit or in a military uniform today can point you in the right direction. And we need folks to sign up. Here we have it.
So what you're seeing here is aerial refueling. It's what makes the 106 unique. The helicopter is basically unlimited as far as gas goes. So that's why our extended range really just depends on how long the aircrew can fly. So you see here they have the little hose coming out of the back of the C-130, and it's a tough maneuver, especially when it's windy. But they have a probe, and that's what you tell the difference between the Army and the Air Force helicopter. So when you look up and you see that little probe, that's the 106 rescue wing. That's us. And you can see them getting some gas right now. Well, they're not getting it right now, but they're simulating. But.
You know what they say, you can't win a war.
In this wind, and that basket's moving every which way, you're trying to get tucked in, and you've got, a little bit of vortices coming off the wings. It's sporty.
That's right, and what you're seeing right now is truly one of the most magnificent things in the military that we figured out here in the United States, air refueling. Started by Jimmy Doolittle. He's one of those guys that crawled out on the wing like a wing walker. Honestly, to start this, and now we have this, to think about how far we've come. We were just at Roosevelt, the old Roosevelt Field last night where Lindbergh left. If those folks could see this now, my goodness.
Pararescueman. One pararescueman is an 18-year team leader. He just joined from active duty to the Guard about 2 months ago. So you see he's hitting the ground, or in this case he's hitting the water. And the second PJ you're going to see is the state trooper I talked about a little while ago. Staff Sergeant Jimmy Zambik. He's from Southampton. He joined up and went to school, became a PJ, and then had to go.
All of that just boggles my mind.
Yeah. Those guys
In the water, it's not as bad, but land, you have to go and stay and go close. So a little challenge to Jones Beach guys. If you're up for the challenge, this is it. 10 weeks, only 1% make it.
Really?
Yeah. What's it like being a lifeguard right out of high school? That's got to be a pretty cool job, huh?
It's a great job.
Yeah.
It was right in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. We got the call around 9 o'clock. We took off at 3 o'clock that afternoon, 5-hour flight. We jumped into the middle of the night, 8 to 10 foot seas with all of our equipment. We boarded the ship. We had to stay on the ship and treat these patients for 36 hours.
Let's go back to the cockpit for another speed check. All right, Beta, how slow can we go?
used to live just down the road from us here in Republic, and they were owned by another great team, a legendary team in the air show business, in fact, the Skytime. Chris, one of the pilots for that other team. Today, they're sporting the same airplanes, these two gorgeous AT-6 or SNJs is the name you call them, and they're right here to perform for us today.
Both of these pilots love flying these airplanes.
How could you not? An airplane designed to teach the fighter pilots of World War II.
Pilot maker.
Yeah, the pilot maker, the SNJ T6. But I want to tell you about the pilots who are flying these things, because back in the day, there were no two-seat fighters. So an airplane that was really hard. An airplane that, that would teach a perhaps young, maybe egocentric person that maybe they weren't the top fighter pilot just yet. So this is an airplane that's quite humbling to fly and to perform these maneuvers that would be seen in a training syllabus for a young fighter pilot in World War II. You gotta be pretty good. You and CT both are experts.
I don't mind the cloud cover. While it does make it a little chilly, you really can see the tight formation that they're flying when their smoke's on and they come up right there in front of the clouds. Very, very easy. As opposed to sort of staring at the sun.
Well, the lead aircraft up there resides in Virginia Beach. That's Chris Thomas. His great wife works up there in Virginia Beach. Along with his two daughters. CT's flown over 110 models of airplanes, flight for 37 years. Buick, oh, we all know Buick. F-14 guy back in the day, right?
Yeah, the fighter pilot like I'm talking about. He also calls Miami sailplanes is where he got his start, right? So we're talking about energy management.
Yeah,
Gliders that actually have no, so really that it is easier to hear people whistling and flying.
Oh, yeah. What do you think it's about the family back then? But I'll tell you what, they serve too. Boy, it is a challenge to support those military members of your family member. You know what I'm talking about. So do Chris and Buick. Big thank you from all of them.
From Greensboro, North Carolina. My name is Major Matt Johnson, call sign Tiny, and I'll be your narrator for this demonstration. From the right, featured is now setting up the minimum radius turn. And demonstrates the power of the F-35's engines to rapidly drive into the vertical. As he approaches show center, Major will command all 40,000 pounds of thrust behind the F-35 and powered straight into the vertical, commanding full aspect, making it completing the I-2 bomb. from the left, the tactical pitch.
Started out in B-17s. You might remember some names like Tibbetts. You might remember the guy from not too far from here who was also on board that aircraft called the Enola Gay Dock today, operated by a museum out of the Kansas area there, right around Wichita. Public Field. That's the C-47 in the lead of the American Air Power Museum. Off the left wing there, you'll see the Mustang. Off the right, the P-40, the familiar airplane in the trail position. That's the TBM, the Avenger. The TBF, not to split hairs here, Steph. TBF, the same airplane, just a different designation. It's built right here on Long Island. Really remarkable to see. The TBM, those torpedo bays are open on that big airplane. I always thought, man, if I had the money, that would be the one, Steph. You could haul all your friends around in it. Back in the day, though, they weren't hauling friends, they were hauling torpedoes. A young guy by the name of George Bush used to fly that airplane. And of course, you know his story, became President of the United States. But a remarkable airplane in its own right. We owe the TBM P-40 down all over the water. Someday that P-40, the sound of that Allison engine, that might be the TBM right here on Republic Field. Maybe it was a P-47 that's in your family history. Go home today. P-51 Mustang, the Cadillac of the sky. One of the greatest fighters, probably the most recognized fighter on Earth, even to this day. It's approaching.
You talk to fighter pilots, and you ask them if they can fly anything, what would they choose?
Won itself over to even our allies. I mean, this was an airplane that arguably changed the war. It was designed on like a cocktail napkin, as the legend goes, and rushed into production.